Shalom, Shavuot, welcome to the Philadelphia Assemblies. Today is the 25th day of the 12th month, or the month of Adar, 5780, according to Yahuwah's calendar, at least as we calculate it. It's also the 25th day of March 2021 on the Gregorian calendar, and it's a Thursday afternoon again. So, again, welcome. So we're going to continue our expository teachings in the book of Jeremiah the prophet. We're going to start in chapter 24 and we're going to go about an hour, okay? But first we're going to turn towards the temple to the east and open in prayer. Almighty Father Yahuwah, we praise you in all things. Father, we thank you for staying this plague, at least for those that are called, Father. We ask that your continued protection, your hedge be around us, and we ask those that you'd heal all those that are sick, Father, and we also ask that you would give comfort to those that have lost loved ones in this plague. We ask that, again, you would continue that protection around those that are called and those that are being called. As we go to your word today, Father, we ask that it be that you would anoint us, and this be your word, not ours. Give us that extra anointing from the Ruach HaKodesh, that Holy Spirit of promise. Father, let it teach us all things. We pray all this in your precious Son, Yahushua's name. Amen. So we'll just go ahead and jump right into Jeremiah, part 5 again of the series on Jeremiah, and chapter 24. And it says, Yahuwah, or Yahweh, or Jehovah, whichever way you think that is. If it's YHWH, it's either Yahweh or Yahuwah. And if it's YHVH, it could be Jehovah, Jehovah, whichever way that you might think that that's pronounced. I lean towards Yahuwah because of the Paleo-Hebrew, the older form of Hebrew. So it says, Yahuwah showed me, and behold, 2 baskets of figs were set before the temple of Yahuwah after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah, the ben of Jehoiakim, king of Yehuda, and the princes of Yehuda, with the carpenters and the smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. 1 basket had very good figs, even like the figs that are first ripe. In other words, when they come to perfection. And the other basket had very bad figs, which had not been eaten. They were so bad. Then said Yahuwah unto me. In other words, Yahuwah spoke through his Ruach to Jeremiah. What do you see, Jeremiah? And I said, figs, the good figs very good, and the bad figs very bad, that cannot be eaten. They are so bad. Again, the word of Yahuwah, talking about his Ruach, that's what came to Yahuwah, was the Ruach HaKodesh. And again, the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, okay, let me get this page to turn. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim. So it's the Ruach speaking for the Father, Yahuwah, and he says, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, like these good figs, so will I regard them that are carried away captive of Yehuda, whom I have sent out of this place unto the land of the Chaldeans for their good. For their benefit, he sent them to the land of the Chaldeans. For I will set my eyes upon them for good, and I will bring them again to this land. So even though they're going to go be carried away into Babylon, he makes a promise that he's going to bring them back. And I will build them and not pull them down, and I will plant them and not pluck them up. And I will give them a heart to know me, that I am Yahuwah, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. for they shall return unto me with the whole heart. Now, this hasn't happened yet. You know, they did go back to Jerusalem, okay, or to the land of Yehuda. But we know up in our Messiah's day that they, again, chose Barabbas, and in other words, did not choose our Messiah, which was to reconcile the nation of Israel back to Yahuwah, okay, through the Mashiach or the Messiah. That didn't happen. This is prophesying about the time when our Messiah will come down and he will make those two sticks one. And we're going to read later in the book of Ezekiel, okay? But this is what he's talking about. That's when he's going to make their heart, their whole heart, okay? Make them return unto him with their whole heart. Verse 8. And as the evil or the bad figs, which cannot be eaten, they are so bad, surely thus saith Yahuwah, so will I give Zedekiah the king of Yehuda and his princes and the residue of Jerusalem, the rest that reside in Jerusalem, that remain in this land, and them that dwell in the land of Egypt. And I will deliver them to be removed unto the kingdoms of the earth, cut off, in other words, to the kingdoms of the earth for their hurt, their destruction. So again, there was a remnant in Israel that was not bad, okay, they were good, and he was going to keep his protection upon them, and he was going to bring them back to the land, but he's going to cut these other ones off permanently, okay? He says, and I will deliver them to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth, in other words, scattered, for their hurt, to be a reproach and a proverb, and a taunt, and a curse in all places where I shall drive them. And he did that. Okay, we're going to see what happened to the remnant that he's talking about here as we go. And I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence among them, till they be destroyed from off the land, and that I gave unto them and to their fathers. So that's the curse we read about in Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay, then chapter 25. Okay, I started in 24. I don't know if I said that earlier, but we started in 24. Now we're in chapter 25. Let's see. The word that came to Jeremiah, okay, so in other words, the Logos, or the Ruach HaKodesh, that came to Jeremiah, okay? Big old fly, I had to smack him, sorry about that. But anyway, the word of, or the Ruach HaKodesh that came to Jeremiah concerning the people of Yehuda in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the Ben or son of Josiah, king of Yehuda, that was the 1st year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. The which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Yehuda and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, this is what Jeremiah said, or Jeremiah. From the 13th year of Josiah, the son of, or the Ben of Ammon, king of Yehuda, even unto this day, that is the 23 year, or the 23rd year, the word of Yahuwah has come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early, or getting up early and speaking, but you have not listened. Verse 4, and Yahuwah has sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, in other words, not just Jeremiah, but all the other prophets, rising up early and sending them, but you have not listened nor inclined your ear to hear. They said, turn you again now, every one, from his evil way, or from lawlessness, and from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land that Yahuwah has given to you, and to your fathers forever and ever. That's what they had to do. See, that goes back to that promise of being a kingdom of priests. If they would do that, he would do that. He would promise that covenant to them forever and ever. Obviously, he knew they weren't, and they never did. Verse 6, and go not after other Elohim. See, I've had some tell me that they don't like it that I tell them that this says Elohim when it says gods in your King James and other translations. That's what it says. in the Hebrew is Elohim. Okay, Elohim is not a holy word of itself. Again, it means what it means. Okay, so this is talking about other Elohim, to serve them and to worship them, and provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands. In other words, that's what Jeremiah was telling them, to stop building making these idols, and don't make them mad, don't make him angry with them because of the works of their hands, or making idols. And I will do you no more harm. Yet, this is thus saith Yahuwah, verse 7, all the way through 16. Okay? You have not listened unto me, saith Yahuwah. That's what Yahuwah spoke to Jeremiah, and he spoke to the children of Israel, that you might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own demise or hurt. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah of the Sabaoth, or the multitudes, because you have not heard my words, or heeded my words, behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, saith Yahuwah, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land, and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about, and will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment, and a scorn, and a perpetual desolations. Verse 10, moreover, I will take from them the voice of gladness, or the voice of joy, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom. Now, what he's talking about is the Ruach HaKodesh. That's the voice of the bridegroom. Our Messiah, when he came here on the earth, the Ruach HaKodesh came down and remained upon him. Okay? We've got a lot of flies in here. Sorry about that. And that Ruach HaKodesh is the voice of the bridegroom. Not the very bridegroom, but the voice of the bridegroom. And the voice of the bride, which would be Israel at that time, and it will be spiritual Israel in the end, because the physical seed was to produce the spiritual seed. Okay? So the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, because they were being blessed with a harvest, and the light of the candle. You have to read Revelation to understand what the light of the candles are. Okay, that was the congregation of Yahuwah at this time. The light of the candle. Verse 11, and this whole land of Israel shall be desolate, be a desolation and a horror. And these nations shall serve the king of Babylon for 70 years. Okay? And this whole land shall be a desolation and a stama, and they shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. And it shall come to pass, when 70 years is completed, that I will punish the king of Babylon and the nation, saith Yahuwah, for their lawlessness, and the land of the Chaldeans, and I will make it a perpetual desolation. Okay, in other words, Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon and the Chaldeans were going to be made a desolation. Okay, verse 13, like Israel was for 70 years. Verse 13, and I will bring upon that land all my words, in other words, accomplish my prophecies, which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, the book of the prophet Jeremiah, which Jeremiah prophesied against all the nations. For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will repay them according to their deeds and according to the works of their own hands. Or, what they did, the evil that they did. For thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of this anger at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send you to drink it. And they shall drink and be staggered and be mad. In other words, they'll stagger like being drunk and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. In other words, Israel was going to go in there and they were going to serve the works of their hands for 70 years. They were going to pay back for their lawless, evil deeds. And then that same anger and wrath was going to go on Babylon and the Chaldeans. Verse 17. Then took I the cup of Yahuwah's hand, or the hand. Therefore I took the cup of the hand from the hand of Yahuwah, not from, but of, and made all the nations to drink unto whom Yahuwah had sent me. In other words, he went and told them the prophecies. Verse 18. That is Jerusalem and the cities of Yehuda and the kings thereof and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, an astonishment, and a scorn, and a curse, as it is this day. As he was reporting this, as it is this day. Fulfilling the word. In other words, he was going out and telling the prophecy to them, and then Yahuwah was going to bring it down upon them. Verse 19. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people, and all the mingled people. In other words, people that are mingled their blood together through, obviously, procreation. And his princes, and all his people, and all the mingled people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, and Ashkelon, and Azariah, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod. These are the other nations that were round about. And all the kings of Tyrus, and all the kings of Zidon, and all the kings of the coast which are beyond the sea. Dedan, and Tema, and Buz, and all that are in the outer corners. And all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mingled people, those that obviously that lived around, that had procreated with other nations, that dwell in the desert, and all the kings of Zimri, and all the kings of Elam, and all the kings of the Medes, and all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, of that known world at that time, which are upon the face of the earth, and the kings of Sheshach, shall drink after them. In other words, after Israel tasted the cup of his wrath, the rest of the world would taste it. Verse 27 again, thus saith Yahuwah, directly, through the Ruach directly, that's as directly as it gets. Therefore you shall say unto them, in other words, Yahuwah through the Ruach, or the Word, was telling Jeremiah the prophet, thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, or the multitudes, the Elohim of Israel, drink you and be drunken. That's talking about that cup of wrath. And spew and fall, and rise no more, because the sword which I send among you. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at your hand to drink, then shall you say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, you shall certainly drink, whether they refuse or not. For lo, I begin to bring calamity on the city which is called by my name, Jerusalem. And should you be utterly unpunished, in other words, should you go unpunished for your wicked deeds, I'm adding for your wicked deeds, you shall not be unpunished. For I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth. Now, has he done that yet? Nope. But he's going to. And that's going to be right before he comes and destroys the whole thing, because that's when they're going to drink of the cup of his wrath. That's talking about right before the great white throne judgment, when he comes in Revelation chapter 20. He's going to the whole earth's going to run away and hide if it had some place to go, but it's not going to have any place to go. That's what this is talking about. This is talking about the wrath of Yahuwah. And that wrath doesn't come until the very end, after the 1,000-year millennial reign. So a lot of people misread this prophetic reading. They're thinking, oh, this already was accomplished. No, it wasn't, not upon the whole earth. Therefore prophesy you against them all these words, and say unto them, Yahuwah shall roar from on high. He's going to come down from on high and utter his voice from his set apart habitation. Talking about from the third heaven. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation, the earth. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. That's when he's going to come against all the inhabitants of the earth. He hasn't done that yet. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for Yahuwah hath controversy with the nations, not just Israel. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword. In other words, he's not going to give all of them. The ones that aren't wicked, he's not giving them to the sword, but the wicked ones he's going to give to the sword. Okay? Saith Yahuwah. Verse 32, Thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, of the multitudes, Behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation. That's going to be right before the white throne right form judgment. And a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And the slain of Yahuwah, okay, they're already dead if they're slain. And the slain of Yahuwah shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be crying, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. That's where they're going to be laying there after Yahuwah comes back. Howl, you shepherds or pastors, and cry and wallow yourselves in the ashes, you principal or you masters of the flock. For the days of your slaughter and your dispersions, get it right, have come, and you shall fall like a choice vessel. Okay, talking about those false shepherds. Okay, and the shepherds or the pastors, okay, shall have nowhere to go, nowhere to run, just like the earth won't have any place to run, nor the masters of the flock to escape. A voice of the cry of the shepherd or the pastors, the teachers, and a wailing of the principal of the flock. That's who the teachers are, the principal of the flock. See, because it's going to start where? At the congregation of Yahuwah. That's where judgment's going to start. Shall be heard, for Yahuwah hath destroyed their pasture. Now what's he talking about? Talking about the earth. That's our pasture. Okay? That's where we feed. He's destroyed the pasture. That's not happened till our Father comes back, Yahuwah, in Revelation chapter 20. And the peaceable habitation are cut down because of the fierce anger of Yahuwah. That's when he's going to release his anger. Okay? He has forsaken his hiding place. In other words, he's left that third heaven as the lion, for their land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressor. Okay? And because of his fierce anger, Yahuwah's fierce anger. It's even capitalized there. Okay? But that doesn't happen till the great white throne judgment, right shortly after. After that Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, that last one after the 1,000-year millennial reign, when that trumpet's blown, chapter 26. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the Ben or son of Josiah, king of Yehuda, came this word, or the Ruach again, from Yahuwah, saying, it's in red again in this sword Bible, Thus saith Yahuwah, stand in the court of Yahuwah's, stand in the court in the house of Yahuwah, and speak unto all the cities of Yehuda, which come to worship in Yahuwah's, in the house of Yahuwah, all the words that I can command you to speak unto them. Leave out or diminish not a word. If so be they will listen and turn every man from his evil way, that I may relent. Okay, repent they have in the King James, but relent would have been better, or let up. Me of the evil which I purpose to do unto them because of the evil of their doings. When's that going to be? the great white throne judgment. Hey, a lot of people are going to die, first die, and then what? The judgment. Okay? And you shall say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah, if you will not listen to me, okay, those that knew the truth, to walk in my Torah or my right rulings, which I have set before you, to listen to the words of my servants, the prophets, who came to warn you, and I added that, whom I sent unto you, Yahuwah sent unto you, both rising up early and sending them. That doesn't necessarily mean in the morning, but many times, way before this happened, he gave them warning, but you have not listened. Then will I make this house, okay, like Shiloh, okay? He's talking about the house of Yehudah, his people. And will make this city a curse to all, that's talking about Jerusalem, because he's going to destroy Jerusalem and the whole earth, and there's going to be a new Jerusalem come down on a new heaven, a new earth, new Shamayim, or new earth, to all the nations of the earth. He's going to place a curse, not just on Israel, but the whole nation, the whole earth. So the Kohanim, or the priests, and the prophets, and all the people heard Jeremiah speaking these words in the house of Yahuwah. Now it came to pass when Jeremiah had made an end of speaking all that Yahuwah had commanded him to speak unto all the people, that the Kohanim, or the priest, and all the prophets, and all the people took him, saying, you shall surely die. Took up Jeremiah and was going to kill him, just like our Messiah said that they did. They slaughtered some between the altars, but some they didn't too, because Yahuwah protected them. Why have you prophesied in the name of Yahuwah, saying this house, and it's not talking about the temple, it's talking about the people of Yehudah, this house shall be like Shiloh, and this city, Jerusalem, shall be desolate without an inhabitant. And all the people were gathered against Jeremiah in the house of Yahuwah. When the prince of Yehudah heard these things, then they came up from the king's house unto the house of Yahuwah, and sat down in the entry of the new gate of the house of Yahuwah. Verse 11, then spake the Kohanim, or the priest, and the prophets unto the princes, and to all the people, saying, this man is worthy to die. Just like the same thing they said to our Messiah when he came and talked to him. See, you don't understand how many times he sent messengers in there. And then at the end, he sent his own son. Now, all of these were sons of God, or sons of Elohim, according to Yahuwah, okay, because of him sending them. But Messiah, because the Ruach HaKodesh came down and overshadowed Mary, he was the actual Son of God, the offspring son of Elohim. But they told him the same thing. This man is worthy to die, for he hath prophesied against this city, as you have heard with your ears. Then spake Jeremiah unto all the princes and to all the people, saying, Yahuwah sent me to prophesy against the house and against this city, and all the words that you have heard. Okay, so that's what he sent him to do. Okay, I lost my spot there. As for me, behold, I am in your hand. Do with me as seems good or proper unto you. Good and proper unto you. But know you for certain that if you put me to death, you shall surely bring innocent blood upon yourselves, because he was innocent, and upon this city, and upon the inhabitants thereof. For of a truth Yahuwah has sent me unto you to speak all these words in your ears. 16. Then said the princes and all the people unto the Kohanim, or the priests, and to the prophets, this man is worthy to die, for he has spoken to us in the name of Yahuwah our Elohim. Verse 17. Then rose up certain of the elders of the land, and spake to all the assembly of the people, saying, Micah and Morazzathite prophesied in the days of Hezekiah king of Yehuda, and spake to all the people of Yehuda, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah of the multitudes, or Sabaoth, Zion shall be plowed like a field, and Jerusalem shall become heaps, and the mountains of the house as the high places of a forest. Verse 19, that's what he said. That's what Yahuwah said through Hezekiah. Or Micah the Mohathathite prophesied in the days of Hezekiah king of Yehuda. That's what he prophesied. Verse 19, Hezekiah king of Yehuda and all Yehuda put him at all to death. Did they put him at all to death? That's the question. Did he not fear Yahuwah and besought Yahuwah, and Yahuwah and Yahuwah regretted him of the evil, or Yahuwah regretted the evil which he had pronounced against them, because they repented. Thus might we procure great evil against our lives. Okay, our souls, talking about our lives. And there was also a man prophesied in the name of Yahuwah, Uriah, the son of Shemaiah of Kirjarim, who prophesied against the city and against this land according to all the words of Jeremiah. And when Jehoiakim the king, with all his mighty men and all the princes, heard his words, the king sought to put him to death. But when Uriah heard it, he was afraid and fled and went into Egypt. And Jehoiakim the king sent men into Egypt, namely Elnathan, the son of Achbar, and certain men with him unto Egypt. And they brought forth Uriah out of Egypt, and brought him unto Jehoiakim the king, who slew him with the sword, and cast his dead body into the graves of the common people. What Yahuwah has cleansed, let nobody call common. Okay? I add that again from Acts chapter 10. Verse 24, Nevertheless, the hand of Ahikam, the ben of Shaphan, was with Jeremiah, that they should not give him unto the hand of the people to put him to death. So they were ready to put him to death, but that didn't happen. Yahuwah had him covered. Chapter 27. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the ben of Josiah, king of Yehuda, came his ruach, or his word, unto Jeremiah from Yahuwah, saying. So the word, or the logos, we would say in Greek, okay, that one that came to deliver the message, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, or the Malach of Yahuwah, okay, came unto Jeremiah from Yahuwah, saying, that's where he came. Verse 2, Thus saith Yahuwah to me, this is in red, all the way through verse 11, Thus saith Yahuwah to me, make you bonds and yokes, and put them upon your neck, and send them to the king of Edom, and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, by the hand of a messenger, or by the hand of Malachim in Hebrew, which they always translate, unless it's pertaining to men, they'll translate it angels, but in this case they translate it messenger, same Hebrew word, Malachim. So by the hand of the Malachim, which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Yehuda, and command them to say unto their masters, Thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, or the multitudes, the Elohim of Israel, Thus shall you say unto your masters. Okay, that's what he told Jeremiah to say to them. I have made the earth, the man and the beast that are upon the ground, or upon the earth, by my great power, which is his Ruach, Okay, he speaks and the Ruach does the works, and by my outstretched arm, again, which is his Ruach HaKodesh. And I have given it unto whom it seemed fit or right unto me. In other words, all these countries upon the earth, he's allowed them to be there by according to his will. Verse 6, and now I have given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and because he's calling Nebuchadnezzar his servant, because he's doing his will. And the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve me. So in other words, he's making him king over all these nations, and only because Nebuchadnezzar will be serving him in what he does. Verse 7, and all the nations, or the Gentiles, shall serve him. I could have translated that heathen like they do a lot of times, but here they chose to translate it nations, same Hebrew word. That's translated Gentiles, nations, or heathen. And all the nations shall serve him, Nebuchadnezzar, and his Ben, his son, and his Ben's son, Ben. Okay? Until the very time of his land come, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. In other words, he would allow them. And it shall come to pass that the nations, or the Gentiles, or the heathen, and the kingdom which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, in other words, if they refuse to, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith Yahuwah, with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. I'm going to empower Nebuchadnezzar to destroy them. Therefore listen not to you. In other words, listen not you to your prophets, the false ones, nor to your soothsayers, nor to your magicians, or dreamers, nor your magicians, nor your wizards, which speak unto you, saying, you shall not serve the king of Babylon, because they're telling you wrong. For they prophesy a lie unto you, to remove you far from your land. That's what's going to cause you to be removed far from your land, because you listen to these false shepherds, okay, or pastors. And that I should drive you out, and you should perish. But the nations, and again that could have been translated Gentiles or heathen, that bow their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon and serve him, those will I let remain still in their own land, saith Yahuwah, and they shall till it and dwell therein. But they still be under the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, because Yahuwah said so. Verse 12 through 14, again, this is Jeremiah speaking. Jeremiah says, I spake also to Zedekiah, king of Yehuda, according to all these words, saying, listen, or put your necks, I'll get it here, bow your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and you'll live. That's what he told them. Why will you die, you and your people, by the sword, and by famine, and by pestilence, as Yahuwah has spoken against the nations, or the Gentiles, or the heathen, that will not serve the king of Babylon? Therefore listen, or therefore do not listen to the words of the prophets that speak unto you, the words of the prophets that speak unto you, saying, you shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesied to you a lie. So he told them that they prophesied to them a lie, but they didn't listen. I'm going to step on him. That's just a big old fly. They just keep coming. Okay? Okay, so they're telling you a lie, okay, unto you. Verse 15, thus saith Yahuwah, it's in red, For I have not sent them, saith Yahuwah, yet they prophesy a lie in my name, that I might drive you out, and that you might perish, you and the prophets and the prophecy unto you. Now, that's going on a lot today too. There's people out there that are prophesying or saying that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, or this is not going to happen, that's not going to happen. If it's not according to the word of Yahuwah, which already been written and already been prophesied, then believe it not, okay? Because they're leading you into destruction, okay? Got to go by the word, the scriptures, and in context, okay? Also I speak to the priests, or the Kohanim, and to all this people, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, listen not to the words of your prophets, and that prophesy unto you, saying, Behold, the vessels of the house of Yahuwah shall now shortly be brought again from Babylon, for they prophesy a lie to you. In other words, don't worry about it. All those things that were taken, they're going to come back. They prophesy a lie unto you. Anything that's not written in this book, and somebody tells you that, and it doesn't correspond with what's written in the book, then they prophesy a lie unto you. Listen not unto them. Serve the king of Babylon and live. And right now we have to serve under what we're under, you know. No matter if we like it or not, we still have to do that. And if we don't, there's going to be a problem, okay? Behold, the vessels of Yahuwah's house shall, listen, not unto them, serve the king of Babylon and live. We got to do that right now, no matter what country you're in. If we're the servants of Yahuwah, he's got them in place, and we got to serve them, okay? And live. If we don't, we'll die. Therefore, should this city be laid waste, or why should this city be laid waste? Same thing's going to happen here if we don't go along with the government that we're placed under, okay? Man, I'm telling you, you can't twist the word of Yahuwah, because it was the same back here as it is now, okay? Verse 18, this is thus saith Yahuwah, but if they be prophets, okay, and if the word of Yahuwah be with them, that's the Ruach HaKodesh, let them now make intercession to Yahuwah of the multitudes, or Sabaoth, that the vessels which are left in the house of Yahuwah and in the house of the king of Yehudah and at Jerusalem go not to Babylon. Okay, let him make intercession for you to the Ruach. If he be with them, make intercession with Yahuwah if the Ruach's with them. For thus saith Yahuwah of the multitudes, or Sabaoth, concerning the pillars, and concerning the sea, and concerning the bases, and concerning the residue of the vessels that remain in this city, Jerusalem, I added. Verse 20, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took not, when he carried away captive Jeconiah, the ben of Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Yehudah and Jerusalem. Okay? Yes, thus saith Yahuwah, and this is Jeremiah 21. Yes, thus saith Yahuwah of the Sabaoth, or the multitudes, the Elohim of Israel, concerning the vessels that remain in the house of Yahuwah, because he'd already taken some, and in the house of the king of Yehudah and of Jerusalem. Verse 22, thus saith Yahuwah. This is what he says. They shall be carried away to Babylon, and there shall they be until the day that I visit them, saith Yahuwah. Then will I bring them up and restore them to this place. And that's going to be in the new heaven and new earth, in the true Jerusalem that comes down out of heaven, and not until then. One more chapter, then we're going to close this one, part 5. Chapter 28. And it came to pass the same year, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Yehudah, in the 4th year and in the 5th month, that Hananiah the ben of Azur, the prophet, which was of Gibeon, spake unto me in the house of Yahuwah, in the presence of the Kohanim and of all the people, saying, Thus speaketh Yahuwah of the multitudes, or Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, saying, Destroy the power of the king of Babylon. Within 2 full years I will bring again unto you, unto this place, all the vessels of Yahuwah's house, or the house of Yahuwah, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried them to Babylon. That's what they said. And I will bring again to the place Jeconiah, the ben of Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, with all the captives of Yehudah that went into Babylon, saith Yahuwah. They're saying that, and he didn't say that. It's not in red. For I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon. That's what they said. He told them, they're prophesying a lie to you. Verse 5, Then the prophet Jeremiah said unto the prophet Hananiah, in the presence of the Kohanim, or the priests, and in the presence of all the people that stood in the house of Yahuwah, even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen. Yahuwah, do so. Yahuwah, perform your words which you have prophesied, to bring again the vessels of Yahuwah's house, of the house of Yahuwah, and all that is carried away captive from Babylon into this place. Nevertheless, hear you now this word that I speak in your ears, and in the ears of all the people. The prophets that have been before me and before you of old prophesied both against many countries and against the great king of war and of evil and of pestilence. The prophet which prophesied of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known. In other words, if it happens, then it was of Yahuwah, that Yahuwah have truly sent him. Okay, and if it don't happen, then Yahuwah didn't send him. Then Hananiah the prophet took the yoke from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and broke it. And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah. And Yahuwah didn't say this. It's not in red. Okay? Even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years. And the prophet Jeremiah went his way. He left. Then the word of Yahuwah came unto Jeremiah the prophet, after that Hananiah the prophet had broken the yoke from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying, now this is in red. This is what he said to Jeremiah the prophet. Go and tell Hananiah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah, You have broken the yokes of wood, but you shall make for them yokes of iron, for Israel. For thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, I have put a yoke of iron upon the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they shall serve him. And I have given him the beast of the field also. Then said the prophet Jeremiah unto Hananiah the prophet, Hear now, Hananiah, Yahuwah have not sent you, but you make this people to trust in a lie. Then verse 16, Therefore thus saith Yahuwah, and this is in red, Behold, I cast thee from off the face of the earth. This year you shall die, because you have taught rebellion against Yahuwah. And I said we're going to stop there, but we're going to actually plunge in again. Verse 17, So Hananiah the prophet did the same year in the 7th month. We know that the 7th month is the year of the month of the feasts. You know, we got the Yom Terim, you got Yom Kippur, or Yom Kippurim, and Sukkot. Okay, that's the month they're talking about there. Chapter 29. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue, or the rest of the elders which were carried away captive, and to the Kohanim, or the priests, and to the prophets, and to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. This is in parentheses, okay, so that means somebody added it. And after that, Jehoiakim, Jeconiah, the king and the queen and the court officials, the princes of Yehuda and Jerusalem, and the carpenters and the smiths were departed from Jerusalem by the hand of Elisha, and I know I pronounced that wrong, the ben of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the ben of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Yehuda, sent unto Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So somebody added that so you know who he's talking about. Saying, Thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, are the multitudes, the Elohim of Israel. This is in red to rest on that I can see through 16. Unto all that are carried away captives, whom I caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon, build your houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them while you're in captivity. Take you wives and beget ben and daughters, and take wives for your ben, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished. In other words, continue to procreate. And seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away, Babylon, captives, and pray unto Yahuwah for it. For in the peace thereof shall you have peace. In other words, while you're in Babylon, you shall have peace. Verse 8, For thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, of the multitudes, the Elohim of Israel, let not your Kohanim, and your soothsayers that be in the midst of you devise you, deceive you, neither listen to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them. In the rest of the prophets that prophesied falsely. For thus saith Yahuwah, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you, talking about through his Ruach. He'll be back to them, and perform my good word toward you in causing you to return to this place. Send his Ruach back. For I know that the thoughts that I think toward you, saith Yahuwah, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a hopeful end. So in other words, don't be rebellious. Do what I say. Live under this king, King Nebuchadnezzar, just like we're under that right now. And you shall seek me and find me. If you'll just listen to me, you'll seek me and find me. When you shall search for me with all your heart. And I will be found of you, saith Yahuwah. And I will turn away your captivity. In other words, release you from your captivity. And I will gather you from all the nations, or again, from the Gentiles or the heathens, and from all the places where I have driven you. That's not going to happen till our Messiah returns during that 1,000-year millennial reign. He'll start gathering them then, from one end of the Shamayim to the other. Saith Yahuwah, and I will bring you again into the place where I caused you to be carried away captive. In other words, bring them back into Israel. That's not going to happen till then. The people that are in there now, they're not Israel. They're imposters, like it tells you in the book of Ezekiel. Because you have said, Yahuwah has raised us up prophets in Babylon. Know that thus saith Yahuwah, of the king that sits upon the throne of David, and of all the people that dwell in this city, and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you into captivity. See, some of them not going forth into captivity. We're going to see where they're going to go. Thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, or the multitudes, Behold, I will send upon them the sword, the ones that resist and don't go into Babylon, the famine and the pestilence, and will make them like spoiled or bad figs that cannot be eaten. They are so bad or spoiled. And I will persecute them with the sword, and with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse and a horror and a whistling and a reproach among all the nations where I have driven them. And again, that's Deuteronomy 28, because they didn't keep his covenant. Some then and some up through the future, because they have not listened to my words, which he talked about his right rulings, or his Torah, saith Yahuwah, which I sent unto them by my servants, the prophets, and them were known as the sons of Elohim, rising up early and sending them, but you would not hear, saith Yahuwah. See, those would be his anointed, okay? The ones the Ruach comes to, they're his anointed, okay? Hear ye the word of Yahuwah, hear ye therefore the word of Yahuwah, which is his Ruach, all you of the captivity whom I have sent from Jerusalem to Babylon. In other words, don't resist, go into Babylon, just like right now. We should not resist the government, but be ruled by it, because Yahuwah is going to save us or take us out of bondage when our Messiah comes back, when he gathers us. 21. Thus saith Yahuwah of Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel, of Ahab, the son of Koliah, and of Zedekiah, the ben of Maaseiah, which prophesy a lie unto you in my name. Many are doing that now. Behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall slay them before your eyes. See, anybody's telling you that now's the time to fight, you better not listen. Okay? Same thing applied back here, it applies right now. And of them shall be taken up a curse. Anybody that fights against them, because we're under kings right now, by all the captivity of Yehudah, which are in Babylon, saying, Yahuwah make you like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have committed villainy in Israel, and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken lying words in my name. In other words, if you say, thus saith Yahuwah, and he didn't say it, lying words, which I have not commanded them. Even I know, and I am a witness. So if they say it's time to fight right now in Yahuwah's name, it's not, saith Yahuwah. Verse 24, thus shall you also speak to Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, saying, thus speaketh Yahuwah of Sabaoth, the Elohim of Israel. This is what he does say, saying, because thou hast sent letters in your name unto all the people that are at Jerusalem, and Zephaniah, the son of Maaseiah, the Cohen, and to all the Cohenim, saying, Yahuwah hath made you Cohen in the stead of Jehoiada the Cohen, that you should be officers in the house of Yahuwah, for every man that is mad and makes himself a prophet, that you should put him in prison and in the stocks. Now therefore, why have you not reproved Jeremiah of Anathoth, which makes himself a prophet to you? For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, this captivity is long. Build you houses while you're in Babylon, and dwell in them, and plant gardens. That's what we're supposed to be doing right now. And eat the fruit of them. That's what we're doing right now when we're under the kings and in the spiritual Babylon. Okay? And Zephaniah the Cohen read this letter in the ears of Jeremiah the prophet. Then came the word of Yahuwah unto Jeremiah, which again is his Ruach, and said, Send to all them of the captivity, saying, thus saith Yahuwah concerning Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, because that Shemaiah saith, prophesy unto you, and I sent him not, and he caused you to trust in a lie. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah, behold, I will punish Shemaiah, the Nehelamite, and his descendants, he shall not have a man to dwell among his people. In other words, he's going to cut them off. Neither shall he behold the good that I will do for my people, saith Yahuwah, because he hath taught rebellion against Yahuwah. We're going to stop right there. Okay, we're going to start part 6 here. Okay, and again, may Yahuwah bless until we meet again, or Barach, until we meet again.